Well, hello and welcome back everyone to our Part D IRMAA series, Part B and D, I should say. I like how Ben puts it, the mean old Aunt Irma can come along and cost you more during your retirement years. However, one of the weapons that you will have in your pocket that you can get help with from your financial planner or your Medicare insurance broker is the appeal. So there are certain things, certain life events that can happen that may mean that you earn less now than what Social Security is looking back at 2 years ago on your income. Obviously, a very normal and most common one would be what they call work stoppage. You have retired and now you earn less. This was actually one that my own mother used and successfully appealed and lowered her Part B premium. She has retiree insurance that has drug coverage, so she doesn't have a Part D plan, but the amount that it saved her on Part B was significant. And so you can head on over to Google and look for Form SSA 44 and fill this out and present that to Social Security with your evidence of why you think they should reevaluate what you're going to pay for Parts B and D. And this usually happens after they send you a determination letter that upsets you, and you go and gather all your documents, and then you get ready to appeal that. Now, you certainly could just wait it out, and maybe in a year or two, your income goes down further, and that look back isn't affecting you anymore. But you don't have to. It doesn't hurt to try, is what I always say. So if you have a valid reason that you can prove why your income is lower now than before, appealing that IRMAA determination is free. So we see the retiree lower income one a lot, Ben. What are some of the other common types of life-changing events that you see in your practice?
So they're going to be big ones, right? Big life-changing events. It's not something that's going to happen without you noticing, right? So divorce is a big one. Retirement is the big one. There are some things that, if there's a natural disaster and you have to sell a property or you get some kind of settlement or something, things that are really unusual. And there's specific guidelines, but like you said, it doesn't cost you anything to appeal. So if there's a major life event, especially if it's a negative life event, I would encourage you to appeal, because like you said, it doesn't cost you anything. I did, before our call, I kind of was going over the Medicare website, and it does sort of suggest that maybe you use a lawyer to help you with this. That might be overkill in my opinion, unless we're dealing with some really extreme cases. But I think, whill out the form with the help of your advisor. You could even do it yourself. Maybe in person, like we talked about, would maybe even be a better benefit, which was a great idea I think you had. But I would say, when in doubt, appeal.
Yeah. And one of the things that people may not know is that a human being is evaluating these appeals. And so you can mail it in, and you're going to attach all of your documentation to show the difference in your income. And if there's something there that's missing, and they have a question about it, it could be a thing where they rubber stamp a denial or they don't understand something that you intended. So you could take this paperwork down in person to your local Social Security office and plead your case there. There are boxes on the form SSA 44 that will tell you the reasons that are valid, and they are those kind of things. There's work stoppage, obviously, marriage, divorce, death of a spouse. These are all major life events, as Ben said, that are going to affect your income in some way. Selling a property that has a rental income, those are all things that can be considered. Every now and then we even have someone that tells us one that's out of left field and doesn't really fall into those categories. And what I tell people again is, it's free to try. You could put it on there and plead your case. We sort of see no rhyme or reason on the answers. A lot of times I see cases that to me seem pretty similar. And one of them, they win the appeal and things are lowered. And then on another one that seems relatively similar, it's denied. Do you see some of that in your practice as well?
Yes. So there has been instances where it seemed really cut and dry that this is that they would be granted an appeal and they simply didn't get one. Now, in the cases where your income spikes for a year or 2 years, business sale, property sale, if you get denied, it's not the end of the world, because you'll just have a new tax return next year and they'll reassess you. But if this is something that's going to be ongoing, you might want to contact an attorney or something and try to get a reappeal or get in front of a human and get some answers as to showing why this shouldn't apply to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another thing that people should consider. One thing about going in person is you're not mailing forms off and hoping that they get there and then nobody receives it and you're waiting on an answer, and Social Security didn't have that. That may be a little harder to do in a post-COVID world. So if you have to mail them in, go ahead and try. But when we talk about documentation, I always like to say, any documents that you can provide are helpful. So, maybe you are working and you've got your old paychecks, you've got your tax returns showing what you earned then, and now maybe you have a set amount of money from Social Security and a distribution that you're taking from a retirement account, and that's what you live on, and you want to show that that's the income that's coming into your household. So anything that you can attach that's any kind of proof showing that you earn less now, if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't know if this really counts, just go ahead and include it. The more documentation, the better when you're trying to plead your case.
Yeah, something as simple as a letter from your employer could be helpful. Your last pay stub, something that says, yes, such and such client did actually retire, and thus their income is going down. Planning ahead again is a great idea. Sometimes I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Do I remember what my income was exactly 2 years ago? Right? Many people are probably the same way. So if your income is higher than the amount, don't wait until 2 years and then try to go back and try to track some of this stuff down. Understand that I'm going to get a letter in 2 years because my income is too high. Let me get that letter from the HR department now and start to develop this strategy, this laying out this case for yourself for an appeal, because it could save you several hundred, if not a few $1,000s, to be ahead of this and be proactive.
Yeah, I think so too. And we were preaching it from the mountaintops, telling people you need to be aware of this, because the time as early as you can get on top of it and work with a financial planner to, like we said, iron those things out and make them even and try to minimize the impact of the IRMAA, the better. Something else I like to tell people is sometimes they'll ask us, I already know that my tax return says this, and I haven't gotten my determination letter from Social Security, but I know it's coming. Should I go ahead and appeal now before I get my letter? And we advise people to go ahead and wait. So if the IRMAA is assessed before you appeal, and you're going to get a bill and you're going to owe this IRMAA, go ahead and pay that. You don't ever want to not pay your Part B premium and IRMAA, because if they cancel your Part B coverage, that's a real big deal. It's something that can cause a penalty, and it can cause you to wait a very long time before you can get your Part B reinstated. So you want to go ahead and pay the bill. And the good news is they do refund that money back to you once the appeal is approved and it gets backdated. So if you're thinking, well, I want to appeal before I get my letter so that I can avoid that 1 month where I'd have to pay the IRMAA because I don't trust them to get the money back. Sometimes I think what happens is your paperwork ends up just sitting around up there because they haven't even calculated yet what you owe. They haven't pulled those tax returns. They don't have them in front of them. So your appeal could really get lost in the shuffle when you think about 10,000 baby boomers retiring across America every day. So wait until you get the letter that says you have the IRMAA, and then have everything ready to go right at that time. Make an appointment, go down in person to Social Security, or if you're trusting to mail it in, you certainly can do it that way. And then if you have to pay the IRMAA in the meantime, just know that at our agency, we often see, it's very rare that we see people get a hassle about that. They typically will backdate it to a certain date that they deem appropriate, which is usually the date that you're aiming for, and they will credit that back to you. So it's not like you lose the money. Now, of course, if they deny your appeal, well, then that's a different story. But it is nice to know that it's not like the money that you pay in the meantime is just gone forever and you'll never get it back.
That's smart. Pay it and then get a refund if your appeal does in fact go your way, rather than hold the money back, your appeal is denied, and then now you have to kick in, because you could be undoing some things that could take a long time to redo.
Yeah, that's right. And that's always disaster. And we see it happen a couple of times a year where somebody does that. Well, I'm not going to pay that. And then suddenly they get a note from their Medigap company. Their Medigap got canceled because their Part B got canceled. And you have to wait until the next general enrollment period to sign back up. And then you can't get your benefits until July. And depending on when that happens, you could literally be without outpatient coverage for over a year. You never want to risk that. Go ahead and pay it to be on the safe side.
When it comes to taxes and when it comes to your Part B premiums, I'd rather have you owe money to the mob than owe money in taxes. So just pay it and we'll figure it out later.
That's right. Sometimes it may feel the same, but it's really not. So err on the side of caution there. Well, this has been a really interesting series. It's fun for me to talk with other financial professionals and explain about stuff like this. Ben, do you have any last things you'd like to add on the subject of our mean old Aunt Irma?
No, nothing further to add. I'm so thankful for your company. We have worked with so many clients with your company, and everybody has glowing praise for you. So appreciate all your content you put out, and appreciate you working with our clients.
Thank you so much. We love doing it, and we refer people to your podcast all the time. It's a great podcast. I listen to it myself. Tell our viewers today one last time how they can get that Monday morning podcast from you.
Every Monday morning, yeah. Retirement starts today. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, any place that publishes podcasts. We're tackling the topics on the minds of the modern retiree and looking at retirement headlines and answering listener questions. And it's a digestible. We chose about 20 minutes per episode because that's what a Friends episode is. And we're used to binging that on Netflix during COVID time. So I said, perfect, 20-minute, perfect drive time. We'll help you count the Mondays until your retirement.
Yeah, very good. I love it. So go and check it out, folks. Thanks so much for being here. Ben, appreciate you. And I will see you guys in 2 weeks for our next regularly programmed YouTube video.